Okay, sorry about that. Today has I started a bit late. I mean, in general, it's gonna be late streams all throughout the entire week. We're starting in the afternoon now, but you may have noticed that the schedule kept on changing today. It's because I was messing around with the code to update the schedule. So I was trying out their programmatic thing, but I hate time zones. I can never do time zone stuff correctly because I hate time zone conversions. Realistically, it's easier if you go straight to UTC and you just do everything, and then you convert based off of that. But even then, it's like I keep messing up and I keep forgetting like that I'm in like a local time zone, and I keep forgetting like to do the conversion correctly. I always skip like one step. The other thing that you may have noticed is that it said I was going to be sick for like I think like a couple minutes. I'm not sick, but I have a new sick notice in case I do get sick. So my site, I'm adding more things to the site. It is still the most accurate place to see what I'm doing today. I'm just adding some more things just so it's like, easier to know what I'm gonna do and easier to manage. Although the break notice is still there and I don't really know how to get rid of it. Oops, I should have probably just got rid of that. But yeah, we're gonna be doing some more today, and we're gonna be doing but we're gonna do some of the things first today. Okay, one is that there's a bunch of things to talk about. A bunch of things. I'm actually very surprised that these things kind of like happened. Like it's not like super bad, but it's like it definitely changes like everything for like a lot of certain groups of like people, right? So if you don't know, Twitter is now going to charge you money. They're going to charge you money to use Twitter. They're running it right now in Australia, so in New Zealand. So thank you, fellow Aussies, for taking the final blow for us. Okay. We're taking the first blow first, right? They're taking the brunt of what's happening today for us. I don't know why they're charging money. They're planning to charge like $1 for every new user start using the live platform. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. For like many of you don't know this, but there's a forum which I'll just go to. If they even have it actually. What careers? What? Y'all got jobs up there? Y'all got jobs? You guys got jobs up there? Whoa. Wait. It's gone? What do you mean it's gone? Wow. Wow. Okay, well, I mean, let me just show you what it was. No, I'll get into it. Where, first off, what the? Gameplay programmer, Rust, backend web developer. Hey, if you want a backend web developer, I'm your guy. Face punch. But let's see if I can show this. If I can show this. Face punch, which these are the guys. It's the studio behind Garry's Mod. And like obviously, it's like Gary Newman is like the guy behind Garry's Mod, but he has like a whole studio dedicated to it. Oh no, it's a shady stick. No, trust me. These are legitimate sites, or they were until it died. So apparently, I mean, before it died, the Face Punch forums were just a regular forum that you could just go to for any topic. Like you could just go to the forum for like any kind of topic. It wasn't just for like their games. You could just talk about anything, and it was up for like 15 or so years, right? I think this was the one that you had to pay like $1 to like access, or you had to buy the like game at least to get access. I think that's the one. Let me just see if I can find this. There was another one that was also very popular. Paid forums. What's the forum where you have to pay to even post? What the fuck? Famous forums. I don't know, what's a famous forum? No, not 4chan. What the fuck is this? Something awful. There we go. God, that's the other one. There was also Something Awful, which still actually is still alive, which I'm very surprised about. This one was the much older one. This one you had to pay separately in order to like get in. Now, obviously, this one was like way more off the rails. At least the Face Punch one was like, I want to say like 70 to 80% just based on their like games. But then the Something Awful forums were like insane, like absolutely insane. Because like it's basically just for anything that you want to talk about, right? Yeah, but the specific thing is that it costs $10, right? That activation fee, that like entry fee, is actually not a relatively unknown concept in the grand scheme of things, right? Paying $10 just to be able to go into like a site and start using it helps, alleviate a lot of the issues of people who just want to join just to cause chaos, or who are, just want to join to be like assholes and like stuff, right? Obviously, it does mean that you don't get the same volume, but it does mean presumably that the quality goes up. You just woke up, you were hunting since 5 in the morning to 6 in the evening. Holy moly! Yeah, that's a lot of hunting. But welcome home and welcome to the stream. It's a good thing that you got some rest. Even my title looks shady. No, it's fine. It's just plain English. It's fine, right? There's nothing wrong with my stream title. It's not weird. There's nothing weird about it. Look, I'll even copy paste it and like show you guys. Look. See? It looks fine. It looks perfectly. That's a perfectly fine stream title. But so it makes sense, right? So there's precedent. There's precedent for like a service like charging like an entry fee in order to prevent people from getting it too like crazy, right? But also, the problem when you do that is that it's gonna alienate everybody else who like didn't want to pay in the first place for something that realistically you're already paying for it via ads, right? So Twitter's whole thing now, with them charging $1, I don't necessarily disagree with it, in the form of like it's not going to work. Like it'll probably work. The problem is that the price is too low for like $1. Again, they're doing it to stop bots, right? $1 is not going to stop bots. 1,000 bots is $1,000, and with the amount of money that scammers and like spammers make, they can easily cover that like cost. Realistically, the individual person is going to have a much harder time paying the $1 than it is going to be a deterrent for like a bot or like a spammer. In fact, it has to be scaled up even more. Even like $10 would be like the maximum that you could probably go before it starts to price out too many people, right? The other thing is that you're paying already for Twitter access via via ads. Like all of the time that you're on there, and then all of the time that you're shown ads, they take a percentage of those like ad cuts, right? Yeah, exactly. We just need to bow. Exactly. We bow to the overlords, to the bots and the AIs. There's this really great study, or this good theory. It's called the dead internet theory. Here we go. The dead internet theory is an online conspiracy theory. Let me just move my face. That asserts that the internet now consists almost entirely of bot activity and automatically generated content that is manipulated by algorithmic curation. Okay? And it's not exactly wrong. It's not exactly wrong. Realistically, there's a lot of AI content or like just like low quality sort of like copy paste content. You see it the most on like Reddit, right? You actually see this a lot on like major posts on like Reddit, like any post that's on the main page, because Reddit is like the most accessible site. Same thing with like Twitter. I've been getting a lot of sex bots constantly liking my posts on Twitter, and the problem is that charging money doesn't necessarily stop this, because there's just too much incentive for them to do so. And at the scale that they operate, these like AI spammer bot ring runners, they make a lot of money. And it's not even like a conspiracy theory realistically. I mean, the dead internet theory is a conspiracy, because like a lot of the internet is still people, but for certain sites, yeah, like it really is just like this. And Twitter going the way of like charging money to like make that not a reality, I think is the wrong way to go. What? Twitter? I hate texting tweets. Several accounts of said you post tweets with the phrase "I hate texting" followed by an alternative. I hate texting. I just want to hold your hand. Or I hate texting. Just come live with me. What? Holy shit. But ever since then, Twitter has been in kind of a weird space, right? So for context, Twitter has value not only just to find things as they happen. It's also a method of communication directly to your favorite creators, right? So for instance, I follow a lot of artists, like a fuck ton of artists, and my whole home feed is 90% art, 10% ads about things that I don't care about. Like if I scroll it, I'm so scared to scroll it. I'm so scared. Wait, let me think about this. Let me do it off screen so that you just to make sure, okay? Because there's a lot of weird like sex ads. There's a lot of weird like sex bots popping up and shit. I don't follow any of those accounts because it's just not my thing. Like I'd rather just see art. But okay, yeah, I'm not gonna show it. The first ad that I got is like a crypto scam. I'm not showing this. You're trying to learn AI, and that's when it trains on it. Females are friends, all males are enemies. What? I don't know what you mean by that. All hair are overlord and savior. Chat GPT. What? I'm trying to learn AI. That's when it trains on us. Females are friends, all males are enemies. I don't get it. That sounds very incelly. Very incelly. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this like charging fee plan at Twitter is going to go. They're testing it right now in New Zealand as well as what was the other place? It was New Zealand and the Philippines. I don't know why it's New Zealand and the Philippines. Okay, like New Zealand I kind of get, because New Zealand is apparently like a good test bed because like they're so similar to like a Western audience, but they're such a smaller market. But the Philippines, I feel like it's such a random market to even go for that I'm surprised that they even do it. I don't know what metric made them think of the Philippines out of all the places, right? Or maybe there's like a whole market of the Philippines that's designed around, a lot of spam and like bots. It's like how in Venezuela for a long time, even now actually, the main way that a lot of people or like that a lot of like online people make money there is by playing WoW and selling gold. I'm not even kidding you. Gold farming in WoW and selling it as like RMT, real money trading, makes you more money than the current currency of Venezuela. And it's a very popular sort of like activity, and I don't blame them for it, right? Really, you gotta do something to make money to survive, especially when your currency is so low that they make they turn the money into clothing because it's so useless. That's how bad it is. It's cheaper to turn the money into clothing than it is to go buy clothes with that same money. Like, just think about that. It probably costs them more to print all of that money than it does to actually have it. They had to make a whole new currency to try to undo the effects of inflation slowly. And even then, it's like so slow that it doesn't really help. But it's gonna be interesting to see how this kind of goes. Never mind, you are new awake. Oh, cause you just woke up? What? You know, fun thing, me texted with your brother today, and you guys texted about hunting. All commercial you get today on the internet, yes, is about hunting. Yep. Yeah, so like the amount of like ad tech, the way it like introspects your like life is absurd. So basically nothing is sacred on your phone. Like anything you like type, you like start to get it. So like if you say some especially if you start to talk about certain topics. Like if you get really if you say even once like an incel thing as like a joke to make fun of incels, all of a sudden you get like a bunch of weird shit from like Sneeko on like TikTok or something. It's like all kinds of like crazy things, right? It's why it's so difficult to get like a good review on like a real thing or like a good video on some like topic, right? Because you're always gonna get something that's like either polarizing or that is like designed to drive engagement and less about driving the truth forward, right? Whatever that truth may be. Obviously, this is not like a huge discussion on like what is truth. It's more like the philosophical term of like what is truth and what is false, right? And I guess you can go into Assassin's Creed like nothing is true, everything is forbidden, right? There's something like that. And when you look at how it works, it's actually terrifying just how deep into your systems they are. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. You could text, you could even say it now. And there's a lot of systems in place on your phone that's just like pushing this stuff forward through to whatever platform. You could even start talking about hunting and it'll probably like send you hunting stuff. Or you can talk about like deers and it'll probably start selling you like a deer spray on Amazon or something. It's all a giant sort of like ad driven system. It's actually one of the reasons why I also think that like you know, like just further proves that there's no reason why Twitter should be charging you like money, because they make so much money off of you anyways from like ads. Again, that $1 fee is not gonna stop the people that they think is going to stop, but it's for sure gonna cause a lot of people to like drop off. Yeah, soon the police will come get you when you talk bad about a government. Yep. I mean, that like happens now in like a lot of places. Like in China, unless you know how to go through the Great Firewall, yeah, anything you say will get you into hot water. Like very, very hot water. Like we're now starting to find out more and more about the things that they're willing to do to distance against the CCP, right? Even if you can get through the Great Firewall, if you make anything that can be tied to who you are, like, you're basically doomed. You're going to be sent to what is effectively a social death, right? You're going to be stuck in jail forever. And it doesn't matter how strong you are. Because if you all recall, Alibaba Jack Ma. Good old Jack Ma. I think he's still gone, actually. I'm pretty sure he's still gone. But yeah, Jack Ma, like, started saying stuff against the CCP. He was like, he didn't agree with like something, like he criticized them, and then because of that he was kind of like disappeared. Like I'm pretty sure he's still like gone. Like he's alive, people have seen him, but he's just not like allowed to like do anything anymore. And so, and mind you, he's a billionaire. Like he realistically in the West, right? If you're a billionaire, you can do whatever you want. Like Bill Gates can just go and start making nuclear reactors, which he's doing, because he's like with that amount of money, you can go through a lot of different regulations and like stuff to try to do whatever you will want. Thankfully, the nuclear reactors are actually like, you know, meant to do something good, right? But even rich people can do like very heinous things. Like there's that other guy who wants to build the most expensive estate ever for like $1 billion, and it's like, why? But over there, even if you're worth $34 billion, you're nothing but an ant to be crushed by the regime. So it's like, this already happens today in like certain places in the world where saying something bad will get you on like a list forever. Yeah, exactly. You'll be sent to a re-education camp. You know what I mean? So it's pretty bad. The point that I didn't finish as well. So Twitter is being used a lot, not just by, you know, people who are sort of like on the ground, right? Like we're seeing that a lot now in terms of the coverage of like both wars, right? The other usage of it is for smaller independents in like more stable places to try and get the name out there on a more global scale. So artists, for instance, artists are the biggest, I want to say one of the biggest users of like Twitter, because Twitter is like so massive and so good at getting your art out to like other people that if you don't do it, you're basically behind everything, right? You have a couple of places, like you can go to conceptartist.org, or you can go to DeviantArt, or like you can go to like Pixiv, right? But even then, it doesn't have that same social network sort of like pull as like just being on like Twitter. Like if you post something really, really good on like Twitter, like a really, really nice, like, you know, picture of some sort of style in your style, and you go viral, that can change the entire trajectory of your like career, right? All of a sudden, you will get commissions. All of a sudden, you get collaborations. All of a sudden, people seek you out for your particular style, for their particular project, right? And it happens all the like time. This is how most people like find a lot of artists, is like on like Twitter or like Pixiv and like stuff, and like you like go through it all, right? Yeah, that's gonna kill a lot of that as well, because honestly, I don't know anybody who would want to pay Twitter to try to push their stuff. And like it's already Twitter Blue, for instance, they already force you to pay. Oh god, X Premium, dude, it looks like a porn site. Fuck, it looks like a porn site. This is so stupid. But X Premium already costs you like a monthly amount of money, and if you don't do this, you lose rankings. Like your posts will not go out further out. It's very odd. So you're paying, soon they're gonna force you to like double dip in terms of like paying. Like on the one hand, you're gonna have to pay to even like get into the service, although existing users don't have to because they're still running the like trial. But again, the $1 is just the lowest that they thought they could get away with for now, right? And New Zealand and the Philippines were the two places where they thought they could get away with it for now. The $1 will soon be 10, will soon be 20, and New Zealand and Philippines will soon be global, right? You already have to pay, $11 a month. Oh my god, that's so stupid. Or $115 a year to use the service, right? To basically be able to push your stuff out, right? This has already killed engagement for like a lot of like newer artists who are trying to build their like systems up to try to be like, because a lot of artists really want to try and make like, because like art is very hard to make money off of, and a lot of it is like based on like engagement, right? And like exposure, basically. I hate the term exposure, but it really is. Like, the more people that like know about you and the more your name is connected to your style, the easier it is to find clients, because they already know your stuff beforehand by looking at your stuff online. And the more likely that you're to find clients by sheer numbers, right? If 1 million people see your stuff, it doesn't matter if like one in 100,000 people have like a business. You now have access to 10 potential businesses versus just one potential business if only 100,000 people saw you, right? It's just it's a numbers game. But the problem is that you already have to pay $115 a year just to play the numbers game for your stuff. And there's no other better way. There is no other better way. You have other sites like Pixiv, like Pixiv. Wait, just in case, Pixiv. Oh shit, wrong site. Pixiv.net. There we go. That's it. That's the one. But Pixiv is already. Aw, man, you can't just look around. Man, you used to be able to just like look around. But Pixiv, for instance, doesn't really have like a social graph. Like, it kind of does, but you're not really able to like browse your feed very easily. You have to search by like specific tags and like stuff. And it's like, it's very hard to like find things that sort of like pop into your view algorithmically by engagement numbers, right? Or just by like random, right? It's why platforms like Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook are used so heavily, because it's the chance of you luckily popping off is much higher than like something that's much more curated, like on Pixiv or on DeviantArt or like a concept artist or like something, where it's like mostly just you at the very, very top, right? Yeah, exactly. It's like like 1,200 Swedish crowns or like whatever your like currency is. Like, in the West, that's already a lot. Like, to me, that's a lot, because most people, if you really think about it, like the 90% of like people are like closer to the poverty line than they are to the middle class line, right? Like, a lot of people. And then on top of that, if you think about the currency conversions to other places and like what that price shakes out to be, chances are it's not going to be favorable for, say, Venezuelans who just like their currency is like it's like underwater, right? Like, but still, it's gonna be priced to the point where most people can't like have it. And so like, for a lot of people who like rely on the platform to try to build their presence and try to get out of their current situation, you're basically doomed. And this also has like a bit of a strange impact on like the other usage of like Twitter, which is sort of like the social usage, right? Twitter is like the only place where you can get on the ground reports from someone, right? 99% of the time it's going to be like, probably fake or propaganda, but still, you're probably going to get like a random tweet from some person who's like, hey, Subway just put like a cockroach in my sub, and you just see it. And you're like, what the fuck? And that's the only way to like see problems like that. Obviously, that was a contrived problem. If you expand it to every other problem in the world, which I'm not going to get into, like politics and like stuff, or like, the current wars going on and like how crazy that stuff is, then you realize like, oh my god, like a lot of the stuff you wouldn't even know the truth of if you didn't have those first-hand accounts almost. And if you didn't have people who were also there who could fact check that. Like, Twitter is like the only place where like you can go to get like a fact check, like, no, this isn't actually happening, or like, no, this is happening, right? So like, it's the only place where like, disambiguation kind of like happens in like real time on a global scale with like a bunch of people on both sides. It's a bit like if Wikipedia had no moderation. If Wikipedia had like one global page for like every single topic, and everyone was allowed to edit it in real time, right? With no moderation, and you can just delete someone else's like changes at like will, right? When you have to pay to sort of like get the reach out, I wonder how that's going to affect sort of like the like topics, right? Because there was also like like Arab Springs, right? The news of that was like before all the current Twitter changes. It was a very natural sort of engagement because it was like, hey, look at what's happening, like on the ground, right? Like, right? Like, look at what's like happening, or even like Hong Kong, right? Being able to like actually be on the ground with those protests, and then being like, oh, like this is what's like happening. I'm curious to see how it sort of like breaks that sort of like flow now. If you have to like pay just to be able to like use the service in the first place, on top of having Twitter Premium, which I mean, this looks like a porn site. There's also the concern of giving Elon Musk your payment details. I wouldn't trust him with my payment details. He's burning money like crazy. He's gonna suck my account dry, right? 1,200 Swedish crowns is what your dog's insurance costs a year. Yeah, exactly. It's like, dude, like for that kind of money, you could pay for like a lot more things, right? Like, why even bother paying for Twitter Premium when you just pay for your dog's insurance or like other things, right? Like now, you see it now on like Twitter, but the type of engagement that you see on like Twitter is like a bunch of people that like you don't really care about. It's like, I'm just saying, it's like 99% crypto bros. It's like 99% crypto bros or like tech bros or like incels and shit like that. It's like, dude, like you guys are so cringe. The funniest thing that I saw actually was somebody who is selling an NFT of a shader. So if you don't know, I think Shader Tor. Fuck, what was it? Shader Tor. There we go. It's not .org. Sorry, I keep forgetting which is which. ShaderToy.com, which, by the way, was built by one of the founders of the demo scene. It hosts a bunch of these shaders, and if you don't know what shaders are, think of shaders as, oh god, why is it lagging? Oh no, my browser's breaking. Hello? But think of shaders as like a really cool way to do like some like graphical thing, right? It's like a very cool graphical thing, if that makes sense. So for instance, if this thing could load anytime sooner, I could show you a shader. This is basically what makes things look like shiny or something. Like look at the shit. It is so freaking cool. Like, it's actually so cool. The problem is I don't know if this will work because I don't know why it's like breaking. Okay, seems to be okay. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's okay, but it's like lagging. But like this stuff is really cool. Okay, it's all real time, so you can modify it as you like go, and you can do a bunch of things. It can even react to your mouse and stuff. This is how Cyberpunk, for instance, does its like, you know, it's like point cloud stuff. It's just a bunch of shaders, and they transform your like mesh into a bunch of point clouds in order to show this like weird, crazy sort of cyberspace world, right? But somebody was trying to sell one of these that was made 8 years ago as an NFT, and I got ads for that, and I was like, what the fuck? And then the first because I like to check the replies on like ads to see if somebody like lambasted it, right? Because they should. And the first reply was, hey, this is stolen from me. I made this 8 years ago when I was in like high school, and I was like, oh my god, like it's actually happening. And that's like 90% of like the like Twitter Blue users. It's just a bunch of like scammers and spammers who like try to steal stuff or like try to like grift you. Obviously, there's a lot of people who just use it for business purposes, like, you know, your favorite large streamer or whatever artist, right? But a lot of the time, I don't know why, but the entire value proposition of like Twitter is like gone now, right? From like a user perspective, all the Twitter Blue people are the kinds of people they don't want to see. But again, it's the only place where you can find stuff like this. Like, it looks so fucking sick. It actually looks so fucking sick. And this is made in real time. So this has no pre-made art assets. There isn't a single pre-made art asset on this, I don't think. This is all dynamically real-time generated. Like, it's happening in real time. If I change the code, it changes how it works entirely. It's actually nuts. You just stay as far away as you can from social media. Twitch and Discord is all you like use. I mean, fair. That's like not like a bad thing to like do. It's just hard to like stay away from it because like so many auxiliary things that we use is like tied to it, right? Like even being on like Twitch, like even being on like Twitch, you get like remnants of it in like how people behave, right? Like, can I change the code? I mean, I can try. I don't know how though. Let's just okay. Radius. Let's just do this like 1.2. Okay, let's just try that. I don't know what that does, but let's see what happens. Oh god, something's breaking. Wait, it's compiling. It's compiling. It's compiling. Slowly compiling. I made something faster. I think I made the rate at which it goes back and forth a lot faster. I'm pretty sure that's what I changed. So if I go back up to that, or if I do like, what was it? Oh god. Oh, there we go. Let's just do like, I don't know. R equals 10. This might break it. Wrong operand types. Oh. Oh, because it's a float, yeah. 10.10. There we go. This should make it 10 times as fast, and in fact, it may actually crash my computer. So let's see if this like works. If I go offline, then you know why. Okay, well, it's one of these things is faster. No, it is a lot faster. It's like moving faster. I don't know. Let's just change like I don't know. Let's change the length of this. Let's change this to like 500.74. Yeah, there we go. Although that might not do anything because that's just multiplying by like it's like a third of that anyways. Yeah, the square black spots are like changing because I'm changing their position or like their like size. So like everything's like gone. It's like missize or it's mispositioned somewhere. It's probably really high up actually. Now that I think about it, because the y-axis is like going upwards. Like if you think about it, the y-axis is like here. So it's probably like way above the like camera, like way above the like camera, because this is looking at like 0. It's like starting at like 0.0 or like origin. So I'm assuming that's what's happening. But you can see how you can change the stuff like real time, right? But yeah, even like trying to avoid social media is like tough because I find that like even if you watch someone on like Twitch, for instance, right, the way that they are, all of a sudden changes the way that you are. Right? Like if somebody goes in on like Twitch and starts talking about like very sort of like very sort of like incel topics, like oh yeah, like they start calling like women females, or they start saying like things like oh like men are bad, women are like I don't know like worse or something, right? Like you're gonna like subconsciously take that even though you're not the one seeing the origin of that, right? Like you're not gonna see the origin of why someone says that, and so you're not being directly influenced by it, but because you're watching them anyways on like Twitch, you're still gonna feel like that even though it's like wrong, right? Like realistically, people are like people, and you shouldn't be talking about those incel things. Like you just shouldn't be like saying those things because it's not right on like many different levels that I don't want to get into because it's such a huge topic to like, and it seems that I'm lazy. But it's like it's very hard to disconnect yourself anyways from point of views on social media, IMO, to the point where it's like I almost wonder if you should engage in it just to learn how to discern what is exactly correct or like not. But even then, it's like hard to like figure out like okay, what is like you'd have to get like a base value system. Like my base value system is like people are people, and you should try to treat people well, and you should try to strive for some level of like peace, right? And so that informing everything you like do is pretty good. Yeah, but you have no Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or no TikTok or Snapchat. You don't watch TV. I know, but like what I mean is like you still watch something that has like some kind of bleed over, right? Like no matter what you like do, you'll always have a bleed over from those places no matter what you do. Because somebody that you talk to or somebody that you watch on like whatever platform, even if you only watch like Twitch, somebody's gonna feed you those ideas at some point. Like it doesn't really stop. Yeah, Shady Sticks. No. I give you guys good ideas. I give you guys good ideas like treating people with respect, and treating people with some some goodwill, right? Sure, you may see me like punch a dog or two in like games, but look, if you look, okay, I've never killed a squirrel once inside Baldur's Gate ever. I've seen some streamers that kill squirrels on site, and I'm like, you sickos. I've never killed a squirrel once. Ever. I show you cool things like shader toys, which by the way is now so the demo scene. I don't even know how to explain this. This is a really old technical topic. Demos and from a demo scene is very different from a game demo. When I talk about demos from the demo scene, it's stuff like this. It's like audio visual like cool shit, right? If I can remember, what's a really good demo? There was one really good demo. Demo scene, demo. Give me 1 second, see if I can find it. Maybe a bit slow today because of things. Best demo scene PC demos of all time. Now, obviously, this is all copyright-ish, but it's I have to show you this. So demos are basically things that people make that is programmatically created to look and like feel a certain way. It's all programmatic. There is no pre-made assets in the creation of any of these demos, right? All of this is dynamically generated, and a lot of them actually run on very old machines. So, for instance, you have, your modern PC demo scene, which is just it runs on your modern PC. You also have the Amiga, which is running demos. Which the Amiga, I'm not even kidding you, came out in 1985. It is a computer with 256 kilobytes of RAM. Most computers nowadays have 32 gigabytes of RAM. A kilobyte, 256 kilobytes of RAM is a quarter of a megabyte. And you need 1,000 megabytes to make 1 gigabyte. And most computers have 32 gigabytes. So people are making demos that look like this. I just want to show you what a demo is so we all have shared context here. There are no pre-made assets. This is running live. This is all programmed live, and you can download these programs, run it in a VM, and the entire file is like maybe 30 kilobytes at like most of like source code. Even the music is like automatically generated on an old machine. And it is so cool. Like, look at that. I don't know why it's so blurry. Oh, it's blurry because it's the Amiga, actually. No, yeah, it's blurry because it's the Amiga. And this is all programmatically made. All of it. People programmed this to make it look like this. Okay? And these are all from 2023. The ones back then were even crazier. There are demos that like run on the Game Boy. There are demos that like run on like, the Apple II. Like really old shit. And for context, Shader Toys was like Shader Toy was a site made by one of the, the big names in the scene. IQDB, whatever his like name was. He's like a very big name in the scene who made that site so that people who made demos could have somewhere to like play with. And again, imagine seeing these graphics way back then on your old PC from 1985. Because this can actually run on your PC in 1985. Like this would run on your 1985 PC. And it would run just as fast. Do they add lag to the picture? No. So nothing's artificial about the like lag. It's just the fact that like it's literally running on the same, like it's actually running on the old machine. So like they're actually running this on a 1985 machine. So the lag is just inherent to the fact that these systems are like old. Again, it has 256 kilobytes of like RAM. Like imagine seeing these like graphics back then, right? Like this is Final Fantasy VII level graphics, and that came out in like 1990 or like 2000 or like something. Like it's crazy. And the fact that this could run on those machines is impressive too, because of how small everything on those machines were, right? But the reason why I wanted to show you this is because recently the demo scene was added as a UNESCO heritage site. I don't know why it's a UNESCO heritage site, but the entire demo scene was basically designated as like a cultural heritage site. It's like a major sort of like influential thing in like human history. And it's so influential that actually a lot of demo sceners now work at like Unreal, at like Epic Games on the Unreal Engine, or they do 3D like 3D graphic stuff. In fact, a lot of the graphics that we have today is being worked on by like people who like started in this scene as like kids, as like high schoolies, which is like nuts. It's actually insane. There's another one that's really good. I think this one I saw last time was really good, but there's a lot more that's like really good. Now, this is the 4K one. So this is not running on an old machine. The only limitation is that it can be no larger than 4,000 kilobytes, I think. Or like something like that. Like it has to be like a very, very small thing. So 4,000 kilobytes is like this. Like this is probably pretty close to 4,000 kilobytes worth of like text of like shit. I think. Like it's like very hard to make something in like that small of a space. When you consider that like even like a small game like Vampire, so 1,000 kilobytes makes one megabyte, right? For context, Vampire Survivors, which you've seen me play, is 500 megabytes. This is only roughly four megabytes, roughly, like or something like that. It's like a really small number. And then you look at it and you're like, wait, this is way better looking than Vampire Survivors. And mind you, this is with YouTube shit compression, right? The compression on YouTube is like god awful. Imagine was people was like, oh, it looks so beautiful back then. Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, is 4K that? There's like two categories: demo scene 4K, and then there was also demo scene 4 kilobyte. Wait, sorry. Yeah. So 4 kilobyte. Yeah, exactly. So the 4K is 4 kilobyte. So again, you would need at least 4 kilobyte. Like you would need at least like, holy shit. You would need 100,000 or so, or like a million of these to be the same size as Vampire Survivors. The same size as Vampire Survivors. And yet it already looks like this. You need a million of like these. The music is all programmatically generated. The graphics, the sound design, the transitions of like the like camera work, everything. This is all done as low level as you possibly can. It's so good. Like, look at that. God, that's so cool. And again, this looks a lot better if you run it yourself, which you can. You can just download the file and run it yourself. And it will only take you like half a second to like download because it's only 4 kilobytes. It's only 4. Imagine people like it's because like back then, like, you know, the graphics that we had back then was mind-blowing, right? In terms of like Doom and stuff. This probably wouldn't have been able to run at the time of Doom because accelerated 3D graphics wasn't a thing back then, really. But once it was, realistically, everything that we had could have looked like this a long time ago if we just had the like time, space, and the budget to make it happen. But the entire scene that sort of has these things crop out of, right, which is still going today, is now considered a like heritage, like a cultural heritage of humanity, because of how influential it like was. And you still see remnants of it, right? In fact, a lot of the people behind Vulkan, I think, were involved with the scene as like, well, 3.js, which is like a very well-known, I think a WebGL rendering library for like JavaScript was made by Mr. Doob, which is like, he was a really OG person in like in the demo scene as like, well. And the demo scene gets expanded too. Like it can go even crazier. Like for instance, God, there was one that I saw that was really, really good. Like really, really good. Was this one? No. Maybe it was this one. No, this one. The 1K. So this is 1 kilobyte. 1 kilobyte. You would need like 4 million of these to be the same size as Vampire Survivors. Again, 4 million of these to be the same size as all of Vampire Survivors. And look at how crazy it like looks. It's so good. And this can run on your old computer, on your old DOS computer. Now, I'm glad it got added as a heritage site because I feel like, you know, there's a lot of heritage there in terms of like, you know, it's very formative to a lot of 3D computer graphics stuff, right? I'm just surprised that they even bothered to do it at all because a lot of usually the UNESCO stuff is like, you know, made from more like traditional physical mediums, right? I've never seen it done for like something like this where it's like a technological achievement or like something. You like games today are all about other looks and not so much about the atmosphere. Yep. Yeah, games 20 years back were more about the atmosphere. To be fair, it's because back then you had to have atmosphere, right? Like back then, because you're like games where like, because again, this is what Final Fantasy like you see this, right? And then I'm gonna show you I'll show you Final Fantasy 7, like screenshots of like old school Final Fantasy 7 on Wikipedia, which is apparently, I don't know. This should be fine. This is Final Fantasy 7. Like you're not working with like much here. you don't really have much like worth it. So you have to go for atmosphere over other qualities, right? It's why games today really don't have to, because like you can build the atmosphere via just pure graphical fidelity, right? Some games I think do it very, very well. Last of Us 1 and 2 built really high graphical fidelity while also building a great atmosphere. Same with Red Dead Redemption 2. You have other games like Cyberpunk, which again has amazing atmosphere compared to other graphics. But again, a lot of games tend to use graphics as like stand-in for like an atmosphere. Yeah. Sorry for your bad English. No. It's fine. Trust me. No matter how bad your English is, you speak more languages than like me, or than most people. I speak too, so we probably are like even. But for most people, you having bad English is better than having no English, if that makes sense. Like, and it's not even bad. Like, I can understand it, so it's fine. Trust me, it's fine. Plus, how else do you get there's no way for someone to get better at a language if they don't use it, right? So I will never harangue or like harass you guys. Is it harangue? Or is that the monkey who like died? Is that Harangue? Oh, it's Harambe. Okay, Harambe is the monkey who died. Harangue is me lecturing you. Gotcha. I will not harangue you for your bad English, because why would I? That's just an asshole move. Your story was usually way better too. That's because good stories are like timeless. Like, good stories can last forever and it's still good. Like, if you think about I don't know, like 1984. Like 1984 is still a very harrowing story that's like really, really good actually. I find 1984 to be, a fairly, like a very good piece of literature. It was written in 1949. Like, good stories are timeless, but it's very easy to make a bad story constantly. Right? Like, Twilight started out as like fan fiction for like, what was the fan fiction for? Twilight Origins. No. Twilight Origins as a fanfic. MCR. But yeah, look, this is a calculator. Sorry, a tiny computer. But it's an 8-bit system that is basically almost, it's like just barely stronger than like most shitty systems. I'm pretty sure it's like just as strong as like calculators today. And yet they make it look like this. It's so cool. And again, this all goes to show how strong of a technical achievement it is, and it makes sense why today a lot of what we have is so technically impressive, right? A lot of the graphics that we have and stuff, it's because a lot of it came from these ideas of like how do you push the hardware to the very, very limits. But yeah, in terms of game stories, yeah, it's kind of hard. Like, most stories are bad. The truth is, like, good writing takes like a long time to do well. And good writing has a lot of elements to it that can't be explained very, very well. I'm reminded of that one sort of like a tale where the director of the person who like wrote the Sopranos screenplay never wrote a single script ever. And then when he was trying to figure out how to write about a script, he bought a guide to script writing, and the first page said, "Go and read the script for the Sopranos," which he like wrote, right? Like, it's very hard to explain what is like good like writing, but most writing is not good, and when you notice good writing, it's like really, really good, right? And again, back then, you had to have something good, whether it was your really good writing or your really good like atmosphere or your story. It doesn't mean that the stories of today are like bad. Like, The Last of Us 1 is fantastic. The Last of Us 2 has issues, but it's still fantastic. Red Dead Redemption 2 is fantastic, I think. Cyberpunk has issues, but it's still fantastic in like many ways too, right? It's just due to the sheer volume of games that we see today, and due to the low but like high barrier to like entry to get something like into the quality level, but it's very accessible to like release a game. It's very easy to get games that like don't pay attention to those aspects or like do it well. A lot of them, mind you, but also it's very easy to like get to the point where you don't have to necessarily enjoy the game, and so therefore it's very easy to get like a shit ton of games that like just focus on the gameplay, don't really have good like story or anything, and that's fine. Like Risk of Rain, for instance, you don't really care about the like story, even though it is there. You're really playing it just for the game. And this is like a very sort of common thing that happens all the time, right? Like it's what do you sort of focus on when you make a like game? Do you focus on the story? Do you focus on the gameplay? Do you focus on like both? Do you even have like time? Again, we're playing Omori right now, right? Omori, which is I think a fantastic story game. But I remember seeing the like ads for this game a long time ago. In fact, it started development back in I don't even care about the plot. Let's just skip over that. I didn't see it. It is based on a webcomic Tumblr blog that they created to help them cope with their problems during a confusing part of their life. It started in 2014. 2014. And they projected a release date of 2015. They probably, again, this always happens. You underestimate the amount of time and effort it like takes to make something. Even if it's in a simple engine like RPG Maker, simple, it's still a very complex thing, right? But a game and a story like Omori, which is relatively simpler compared to like other sort of like games like RDR2 or something. It's not a graphical powerhouse, but the story is still, I think, very fantastic. Maybe it's a lot better. Omori's story is like insanely good, so far at least. It still took them 5 years to make. Like the amount of time that it takes to like dedicate making just a story-focused sort of like game, it can take you like years to like make, and it can go way over initial projections of this was supposed to be at least in 2015. So it's kind of hard to like, I guess like make a good anything, especially if you're going from like scratch. Because how many people like know how to make a good story, right? Or even like what makes a good story? It's very, very hard. I don't even know how. I just recognize it when I see a good story. You do guess for that, but you always find yourself going back to older games with good story like Dragon Age Origins or Mass Effect. Yep. I mean, I don't blame you, right? Again, it's just there's so many different games that come out that like they focus on like different things, and like story-based games are very hard to do well. And like story-based games with like good gameplay is very, very hard to like do well. That it usually takes like years, right? It takes years to make them even like come close to what, you know, their vision is. Even games like Mass Effect, for instance, they fell short of their original ambitions, and that goes to show just how crazy the entire sort of concept is and how difficult it is to get there. It's so good, so good. But in general, it's just really, really, like really, really hard to make like a good story game. Like very, very hard. It takes forever to really, really get to the point where the story is actually good. And in general, a good story in a game, you can actually like put the story into a book and it would still be just as fine, right? Like I said this before, but if I played like Omori and I just read the story as just like a book, or maybe even that like Tumblr webcomic, which I may go back to just to see, I would enjoy it just as much. Same with Mass Effect to some degree. Dragon Age Origins, which I would enjoy a lot more. I think Dragon Age Origins is like, to me, Dragon Age Origins was like a very, very good, like, kind of like medieval fantasy sort of like, you know, kind of like game that like dealt with like a lot of like political things that I thought was like very, very interesting in that sort of like, you know, high royalism sort of like fantasy style that's like very reminiscent of like, you know, what's that one show, Game of Thrones? Like it's like very reminiscent of like that, right? And like you could realistically write a book about it and it'd still be just as good, right? And then you have other games where you write a book about it and it's still bad, like StarCraft. I tried to read a book of that once because I was like very curious, like why they wrote a book about it. I was just a kid, so I got the book and I read it and I was like, this is the worst thing that I've ever seen in my life. It wasn't even good. Like what? Like it was entertaining, but you know what I mean? Again, this is just me on my high horse saying like, oh yes, some books are better than others. Ah yes, so a literary masterpiece like 1984 would absolutely shit on the book The Queen of Blades for StarCraft. But again, it's just, I feel like it is what it is in terms of like some books are just way better. Like way better, some like stories. So again, it's hard. New AAA title games have a hard time to keep you in them. With most new AAA games, you will play one time. Yeah, I mean that's just it's a consequence of like how fun the gameplay is and how I guess burnt out you can get. There's so you look at actually Starfield now. See if we can pull it up. Starfield on Steam. Age check. What do I need to do an age check? view page. So Starfield is now getting mixed reviews, right? And again, it's a very long game, but I think it has a decent enough story that kind of works. And the gameplay is like pretty fun too, right? The problem is that it's just too much of it. That by the time you finish, you're like burnt out. And once you do it once, like you basically finish it entirely, right? Dragon Age Origins and Mass Effect have that effect of like Baldur's Gate, for instance, where you can play it over and over and you can make a bunch of different decisions that like changes your game by a significant amount. Like, to the point where you're basically playing an entirely different story except for the beginning and the end, right? At least that's what I heard about Baldur's Gate. I don't know about, but I know for sure about Dragon Age Origins. Yeah, but even inside Dragon Age Origins, even the end would have changed a lot depending on what you like did in a game. But this is kind of what happens when you have like, you know, stories that like aren't like super good or that don't have many choices that you can only play like once. At some points, you'll get tired of it because there's just too much of it. Pacing is a huge issue. Pacing is like a massive issue in like these like games that are like newer. They really don't know how to make pacing like smooth. They don't know how to make pacing smooth. IMO, the pacing of games and the pacing of most things, whether it's stories, games, or movies and stuff, could be done a lot better. Because I think pacing is like 99% of the battle. You can have a terrible story. You can have the worst story ever. Like get me grapes. Get me grapes. And you waddle away. Got any grapes? Map, 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 map. Obviously, I can't play the song. But the idea is that got any grapes is you start with the duck buying lemonade. It says, do you have any lemonade? And then he says, first so the entire time he's asking for like grapes, and the whole thing's funny. And at the very end, he says, I think I'll have some lemonade. And then they go and buy some lemonade, and then they're like, oh, you know what would go great with this is like grapes. Look, all I'm saying is this has better pacing than most stories today. This has better pacing than most stories today is the duck song. Most stories don't have this kind of like pacing, this kind of cinematic effort. Forest Fire 101 really did make what, as the kids say, is a banger. Absolute banger. Still to this day, it's still very popular, and I don't know why. This comments from like 3 weeks ago and stuff. But to me, if your story can't beat the pacing of the duck song, then your story sucks. It's just fact. It's just fact. Anyways, that's enough talking. Okay, we spent like an hour talking. There was a lot of topics to like talk about. It was like, you know, games and how, you know, different sites are doing different things, and you know, like the induction of the demo scene into like the whole thing, and you know, a whole bunch of other like really crazy things. We're gonna start playing some like games now. Okay. Story games nowadays feel so long. Yeah, and they don't give you player choices that affect the like gameplay. Yeah, exactly. Or even exactly. Even like the older games like Pillars of Eternity or like Tyrant, even like way back then, even like just Divinity 1 and 2 or like 3, right? Because was it the Baldur's Gate team, they made Divinity Original Sins, but like that was just based off of the old Divinity IP, right? Like it's like even those older games, they felt like they had a lot more consequences and like choices. Even like Baldur's Gate 1, for instance. In Baldur's Gate 1, I remember doing some crazy shit, and my gameplay was completely different from my friend. And mind you, I played it, you know, for the first time when I was like 20, right? And my friend is like a Baldur's Gate like fiend. Like he loves Baldur's Gate. And he was like, "What? You killed Imoen?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's so annoying because she kept saying, "Hi, I'm Imoen. Hi, I'm Imoen." So I had to kill her. And that apparently changed my entire game. The entire story of my game is completely different. Actually, wait, no. Was it Imoen? But it was somebody that I killed that like I could no longer have them in my like party. No. I remember now. It wasn't Imoen because I remember if you killed her, I think the game ended at the very start. Because she was important for some major plot point later, I think. Oh no, you could tell her to like F off, actually. I think I killed the squirrel guy. I can't remember. But somebody that I killed changed the story of the game so significantly that like I didn't even know what was like going on. Stuff like that you just don't get anywhere because it's very difficult to like do. Even like a game like Cyberpunk, which is like very much like, you know, your story choices. None of the story choices matter. There are no story choices. Nothing really matters. You just go down one of the 3 endings, right? Most games have devolved into that. Even Mass Effect 3 devolved into just pick one of 3 endings. Like, it's just like, okay. Path of the Righteous is amazing, as well as Kingmaker. Path of the Righteous. I'll check out Path of the Righteous. I know about Kingmaker, but I couldn't. The one thing I heard about Kingmaker was the fact that there was like a time limit or like something. I hate games with like time limits, so I wouldn't be able to like play Kingmaker. Oh, no! Why does the Steam store automatically play videos? I hate it so much. Yeah, Kingmaker is like timed. Honestly, I hate games that are timed. IMO, if you force me to have to play through the game at a certain pace, I don't think I'll enjoy it. Even if it makes sense from like a story perspective, right? To me, it's like, because like, having to make time choices in like such a slow pace sort of like looking game where you're trying to like just explore and like understand the like world, I think is the worst choice to make because of how it conflicts with the natural desire to just explore, right? Like it's very hard to make that sort of like a desirable thing to like do. IMO. Some people like it. Some people like that sort of like the thrill of, oh my god, you don't know how much time you have left and you gotta do things fast and you have to do things well in your time limit, right? But I feel like I don't have enough time to enjoy everything about the game, and I'm not gonna play a game twice. The problem with playing a game twice is that you have to be really, really good to make me play it twice. If you artificially make me play twice because of like a time limit, I feel like that's like a not very good thing to like do. So. Like, because it's forced. It doesn't feel like a natural reason to play twice because you enjoy it. It just feels like, well, fuck, I had to play fast because of the time limit. Now I have to play it again to see my other choices. That's another 80 hours gone, right? Like, it's just too much time. So yeah, I'll take a look at these after. I'll be back though. I'm gonna use the washroom then. When I'm back, but I need to start playing some like games. Okay, we're gonna be doing a couple of things today. We might get to Omori, but we're not gonna spend too long on it. We're mostly gonna be playing Omori today, but there's one other thing that I want to try because I forgot that I had this like demo planned for the Steam Next Fest. Thankfully, the demo is still up. It's from a studio that I found interesting and I found through Twitter, and their game I think fits the mood of what I've always talked about. So when I'm back, I'll surprise you. But when I'm back, we'll do some bit burner. Then we'll go on to the mystery game. Okay, just be right back.